Welcome pre-kindergarten and kindergarten students to the Dallas Independent School District STEM Environmental Education Center. And we'd like to give a special welcome to a number of schools this afternoon. The first one is Johnson McQueen Elementary from Longview ISD. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And all the rest of the schools are from the Dallas Independent School District. We have David G. Burnett with us this afternoon, Nancy Mosley, Withers, Eddie Bernice Johnson Elementary, and the girls from the Solar Preparatory School for Girls. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for this virtual field trip. We wish you could be here in person, but we're going to do our best to make you feel like you're here through a virtual experience. If you are watching this and have not registered for today's field trip yet, you can still do that by going to www.tiny.cc/EEC register. There you'll fill out a short form to get yourself or your class registered for this field trip. We just use that information for our attendance purposes. This afternoon's field trip is going to be all about force and motion. During this virtual field trip, students will discover that energy, force, and motion are related and are part of their everyday life. Students will explore interactions between magnets and various materials, observe the location of an object in relation to another, and observe the ways that objects can move. So we're going to break that down into 4 sections this afternoon. The first one will be all about forces, and that will be led by Mrs. Fuller. The next section will be all about magnets, and that will be led by Mr. Monroe. The third section will explore the location of an object in relation to another object, and that will be led by Miss Nash. And then to end it, we will explore the ways objects move, and that will be led by Mr. Mirez. While we're doing all of that, you can ask us questions, but the way you ask us questions during a virtual field trip is by going to this website, which is www.tiny.cc/EEC-question-answer. There you'll fill out a very short form to ask us any questions you have related to force and motion. You can ask us as many questions as you like, and we will do our best to answer all of them in the time that we have with you this afternoon. So let me stop sharing my screen here so that we can get started with the actual trip, and that will be that exploration of forces with Mrs. Fuller.
Good morning, or good afternoon, I should say. Get my timer started here. This is Lauren Chicken. She's going to be helping us today learn about energy, forces, and motion. And she did a real nice thing this morning. She laid an egg. She laid it on my desk behind my computer. And she can fly a little bit, and she can run and play. Well, you might say, where does she get the energy to do all those fun things? Well, she gets it from her food, just like you. You need energy in order to run and play, in order to learn at school. So that's why your mama and papa ask you to eat breakfast and why your teacher encourages you to eat lunch so you can have energy. So I'm going to show you what she eats. She eats worms. So there's a worm. Do you see that worm? I'm going to offer it to her. Whoa, yeah, she liked that. Let me give her another one. I think she dropped that one on the floor. There you go. So I'm going to put a few worms on the floor and put her down because I think she missed both of those worms. There you go, Lauren. All right. So for our bodies, we get our energy from our food. Our planet Earth gets the energy it needs from our sun. Our sun is our star, and it gives us heat energy. We call it thermal energy, and it also gives us light energy, gives us photons. That light energy is what allows green plants to make sugar, to make glucose, so that we can have food. So energy is very important. Well, you might say, what is energy? Energy is the ability to do work. The work Lauren Chicken does, she makes eggs, she lays eggs, she runs and plays, and she flies. So that's why she needs energy. You need energy to run and play and to learn. Energy is the ability to do work. Well, we have 3 words today: energy, force, and motion. These 3 words are very closely connected to each other. Well, what's force? Force is push or pull. So force can start things. It can start things in motion. It can speed them up. It can slow them down. It can stop them. So those are the different things that force can do. Force causes motion. What is motion? Motion is moving. So let's talk a little bit about a force, about pushing and pulling, about its ability to move things and to stop things. Well, what kind of force is there? Well, there's the force called direct contact. I'm going to put this egg here so I don't knock it over. I'm going to touch this school bus toy with my hand. I'm going to have direct contact and I'm going to move it forward and move it back. Remember, force can push or pull or change directions. It can slow things down or speed things up. So that's direct contact. Then we have the kind of force that's caused by wind. This is a toy anemometer. I'm going to blow on it. I'm going to give it a little bit of wind and let's see what happens. The little bit of wind, my breath, caused the anemometer to spin. So that's a force. The wind is a force. What's another force? Well, another force might be magnetism. Then the next segment, Mr. Monroe is going to spend the whole segment talking about pushing and pulling using magnets. Another one that's real important is gravity. Gravity can pull things. So let's demonstrate that. Here is I'm going to make a ramp, and I'm going to take this Paws Patrol fire truck and put it up here on the ramp. Now, I'm not going to push it, and I'm not going to pull it. Gravity is going to pull it. Gravity is the force that keeps us on the earth. It keeps us from floating into space. Gravity is very important. Everything has gravity. Everything that has mass has gravity. I have gravity, you have gravity, but because the earth is so big, it has a lot of gravity. I'm going to let go of this little fire truck. Gravity is going to pull it down the ramp. So here we go. Did you see that? It got pulled down the ramp. Now, another big force that we talk about is friction. Friction slows things down. If you've ever been in a car and somebody put on the brakes, well, the friction caused by the brakes caused the car to slow down. We showed you the fire truck, and that by contact, direct contact, we pushed it, and I can also pull it back also. Then we've got a little ant on a skateboard. We're going to pull him to the end of the table, turn him around, and pull him back. So that's force. I have a little caterpillar. The caterpillar has a key on the side. The key winds a spring inside the body of the caterpillar. That spring, when it unwinds, is going to push the caterpillar across the table. But he's going to move very slowly. He's not going to be fast like our school bus or like our ant. But you can see that the spring is pushing him across the table. Force is push and pull. Okay, ooh, there you go. Oh, by the way, when I blew on the anemometer, it went in a circular direction. All these little cars and toys down here went in a straight direction, but this went in a circular direction. I'm going to show you another toy that I'm going to push. It's got a little stick. It's a top. Can you see that? And it's got a little stick at the top. I'm going to push on the stick with my 2 fingers. I'm going to push it like that, and it's going to spin the top. It's going to be in a circular motion. And there we go. Now, it's not going to spin forever. It's a cute toy, but it doesn't spin forever because friction is acting on this little top, and it will eventually slow it, and then it'll start to wobble, and then it will stop. So you can watch that, and then I'm going to get our 3 words out again as we end up talking about our 3 words that are related to each other. The first is energy, the ability to do work. The second word is force. Force is push or pull, and force can start things in motion, stop things in motion, speed things up, slow them down, and change direction. And our last word is motion. Motion is moving. You can see our little top, it's still moving, but it's almost about to end. So those are our 3 words, energy, force, and motion. If you have any questions about energy, force, and motion, please ask Mr. Broughton. Thank you. Have a delightful afternoon.
Thank you, Mrs. Fuller. The question that came in was, what thing moves the fastest? Off the top of my head, I thought of light. Light is a form of energy, and it moves very fast. It moves about 300 million meters per second through outer space. So that is very, very fast. There might be something faster than that, but I can't think of anything right now. All right, now let's get into that exploration of magnets with Mr. Monroe.
Good afternoon, students. My name is Mr. Monroe, and we're going to investigate and explore magnets. You know, the first time I saw a magnet, a long time ago, I thought, wow, that is magic. I saw a magnet pull something to it, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I thought the person that had the magnet was either very tricky or he had some magic about him. Then in science, I learned that there are certain things that have the ability to be attracted to one another. Now that word attract means to pull, and magnets have that type of force. It is called a magnetic force, okay? And the part of the magnet that creates that force is called the magnetic field. Now we know that there are very common magnets all around us. Probably ones that you would see in the classroom would be a bar magnet, which looks like this, and maybe a horseshoe magnet, looks like this, a U, or maybe even a ring magnet, which is just a circle with a hole in the middle like a donut. Now, they also come in different sizes. This to me is a large one. This is a medium, and this is a small horseshoe magnet. We also have a large bar magnet, and there are smaller bar magnets. And there are huge magnets that are being used in our world today, and they're used in our everyday lives. In fact, there's another type of magnet that I've seen working, and it's called an electromagnet. And it's really strong because it's also using an electrical current. But you know, students, listen, magnets are found in our everyday lives, and I've showed you these common magnets. They have a strong pull to objects that are made up of maybe a little bit of iron or a little bit of steel. And when that happens, the strongest part of a magnet has that pull toward those objects. We call those the poles of the magnet. For example, with this horseshoe, if we look real close, and I don't know whether you can see it, there's an S and there's an N. That S stands for the South Pole. The N stands for the North Pole. And that's where the strongest pull, the strongest magnetic force is located in a magnet. With the bar magnet, S stands for South Pole, N stands for North Pole. The strongest magnetic field, the strongest attraction points are those points. And then with the ring magnet, one side would be considered the North Pole, the other side would be the South Pole. Now, students, magnets, again, are attracted two objects that have a makeup in them of either iron or steel. We're going to run a test on some objects that I'm going to put together. I've got a bunch of stuff in this Petri dish. And I'm going to select some of these items, some of these objects to put in a dish, and we're going to test them. We're going to put a rock, a nail, a big brad. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be attracted to a magnet or not because it's gold in color. Let's see. Pop top from a soda can. Got some interesting things. A screw. Paper clip. A bead that came from this necklace, a silver, I guess it's silver. I don't know what it's made of, but we'll find out in a minute. And let's put a little money in here, okay? How about a penny? I believe that's enough stuff. Well, let's try this. This is a funny shaped paper clip, so let's put that in there. And how about a thumbtack? Okay, now I'm going to use a small bar magnet to test these items to see which ones are going to be pulled up by the bar magnet. Wow, it's pulling some stuff up. Let's see, can it get it all? Let's see, we're working on it. Oh, it's trying to get everything. Let's see here. I believe it got all it's going to get. I see the thumbtack is on there. I see the brad is on there. I see the bead is on there. I see the nail, the paper clip, and the screw. So all of those objects must have a little steel, a little iron in their makeup. It did drop that tack. Let's see if we picked it right back up. So all of those items were attracted to the magnet. Now again, attraction or attracted means it pulled it to it. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of that. And I'll show you what was left. The rock, didn't pull that up. The aluminum pop top from a soda can, it didn't pull that up simply because it's made out of a metal called aluminum. The penny, it did not pull that up because a penny is made out of copper. And of course, this weird paper clip, it's made out of plastic. So the items that were left behind, they didn't have any iron or steel in their makeup, okay? Now, as far as a pushing force, in magnets, we call that repelling or pushing away. And magnets have that tendency to do that to each other. Take, for example, these two small bar magnets. Now, you heard me talk about the North Pole of a magnet. If I take the North Pole of this bar magnet and the North Pole of this bar magnet, and I try to put them together, they're not attracted to each other. In fact, they are repelling against each other. They're pushing away. So that, in a sense, is the ability to push with magnets when you have two magnets with like poles facing each other. Now, if I reverse this and put the South Pole next to the North Pole, look what happens. They attract each other. Another good example would be this ring magnet. There are two rings already on the shaft of this little stand. If I put this ring magnet on there, it doesn't go all the way down, does it? It bounces up and down because, you know what? I know that gravity's pulling it down. You heard Ms. Fuller talk about gravity, but there's enough magnetic force going on between these two ring magnets, probably like poles, like I said. Probably this is the North Pole, or maybe that's the North Pole. They are repelling. They are pushing against each other, not letting this come down. It could be the South Pole, or that could be the South Pole, but they are like poles. Now, students, listen. I used to be really curious when I was young. I was trying to figure out that magnet. At first, I thought it was magic, but then I realized it had something to do with science. So I got to wondering, who might have discovered the magnet? And tried to find out back then and couldn't find out a person or famous scientist that had discovered the magnet. I saw a lot of stories that had been made up about how the magnet had been discovered in the natural world, meaning out in nature. And you know, I wish I had time, I could tell you a little story about that, but I don't have the time. But evidently, it was discovered in a mountain. And this mountain had rocks that were like magnets. And the name of that rock formation, the different rock formation, is called magnetite. And it looks like rock formations like this tiny rock that is magnetite. Another name for it, it is called lodestone. So it's a natural magnet. Now, there are places you can find these rock formations all over the world, but in large quantities, the closest rock formation that we know of that has a lot of magnetite would be in the states of Arkansas and Louisiana. So it is a natural magnet. As I can show you, it will be attracted to items that are made out of steel or out of iron, okay? Now, magnets are used in our everyday lives. They're used in electric motors. They're used in generators that make electricity. And I'm thinking of something else that they're used in too. You know, maybe you've been on a trip with your family, maybe gone camping, hiking. I know that a lot of times when people go hiking and camping, they carry a little tool to keep them from getting lost. It is called a compass. And what people don't realize is that, I guess they do realize it, they know how it works. But inside that compass, there's a needle, and that needle tells you which way north is, because north is on a compass, it's the N. It tells you what direction east is with an E, and south and west, S for south and W for west. Well, that compass works simply because it is said that our planet Earth is like a big compass. And it's like a big compass because at the top part of our planet, we call that the North Pole. At the bottom part of our planet, we call it the South Pole. And I can remember, just like coming up now, I know some of you are thinking about Christmas. Well, way back when I was a little fella, I just knew that Santa Claus was coming in from the North Pole. And he may be on his way. It may take him a while. But listen, people refer, or scientists refer to the North Pole as being the magnetic north. So that means that's how a compass works. That needle that's inside of a compass will point toward the direction of north, simply because of being pulled or attracted to the north. Now, I know that north in my classroom is that direction, okay? So this compass right now, I don't know whether you can see the needle, but it is pointing that direction. So I know that's north. What I'm going to do, I've made a homemade compass here. And I want to show you guys what I did. I took a magnet and I suspended it on a stick. And right now it's kind of working, it's flopping back and forth, but eventually it's spinning back that direction. It's trying to work its way to find the north. And eventually it's going to settle and it's going to show you which way north is. It's going to work back and forth. There it goes. It's working. It's trying to get there, isn't it? And I don't have much time, so when it gets close, I'm going to stop you. But we do know it's trying to work its way back to this direction. And it's slowly getting there. But you know, there's one thing that will mess a compass up. And if you are out there and you're using a compass and you walk up on a rock formation of lodestone or magnetite, guess what's going to happen to that compass? It's going to go crazy. It's going to start spinning. That needle is going to start spinning because it's attracted to magnetite, even going the other way. Look at that. So without any other magnets around, a compass will work. And students, hopefully today you've learned a little bit more about magnets and how they can pull, attract, and how they can repel. Now, at this time, if any of you have any questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Broughton, and maybe he can answer those questions for you. Okay? You guys have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Monroe. The question that came in was, do animals use magnets? And yes, there are some species of birds that have a little bit of that natural magnet called magnetite in their brains, and that interacts with the earth, which is a giant magnet also, and helps birds know which direction to fly when the seasons change, so they can fly south for the winter or back up north for the summer. All right, now we're going to explore the locations of objects compared to other objects with Miss Nash.
Hello, students. Welcome to my classroom. Today, we're going to be talking about where things are, the location. They might be on top. They might be below, behind, in front, or to the side, beside. Can you do that with me? Put your hands on top of your head, on top. Below, if you're below your chin. Behind your head, in front of your face, and over your ear, beside your head. Okay, let's do it again. Encima, debajo, detrás, frente, al lado. Okay, one more time, fast. Here we go. Top, below, behind, in front. So good. So it matters where things are, okay? And for instance, our handy mask that we're all wearing. I don't want to put it on top of my head or behind my head. I don't want to wear it under my chin or hanging off my ear next to my head, beside my head. I need to wear it in front so it covers my nose and my mouth to keep everybody safe. Right? So wherever you put things is important. Now at my house, we have a problem with books. We got too many books. They're piled up everywhere. Got bookcases full, and then the chairs are full, the floor is full, and it matters. Now books are easy to pile up because they're flat. If you pile them up one on top of the other like this, a big tower of books, and then you think, oh, I want that book there, that one on the bottom, and you try to pull it out, and the whole thing falls over. So for books, a much better way to arrange them is side by side. Because then if I want that book, I can pull that one out, and I don't make a big mess. Sometimes the shape of objects makes it easier or hard to arrange them on top, underneath, or next to each other. So these kind of round apples, I was trying to pile them up, see how tall I could get them. Pretty good. You think I can put another one on top? Oh, wow. Uh-oh. Okay, now, okay. I love to pile things up. Oh, no, that was enough. So it's kind of like playing with blocks, except you don't want to do it really with apples, so you probably get them all bruised and then they wouldn't be good to eat. But playing with blocks, I love to play with blocks. It's a really good way to kind of practice where you can put things. So you can put some on the bottom, some on top, some on the side, some behind, some in front. And you can build little towers, and then you can take some animals and you can put them. I've got my Spinosaurus here on top. I've got my Triceratops to one side of the Spinosaurus. I've got my Brontosaurus down here on the side. I've got whoever this green guy is in front. I've got this iguanodon coming around this side, other side. I've got this ankylosaurus in the middle, so it's underneath the Spinosaurus, but it's above the green guy. And then right out here behind here comes the famous T-Rex. So you can have some fun putting things in different places. Now, the animals, I've got some animal friends here. I caught this little wasp inside. She was on the window. And she doesn't belong inside there. She belongs outside. I'm gonna let her go since we're done here. She came in, she's coming in. She thinks that, well, she knows winter's coming. And she's looking for a place she's gonna hide under if you're outside, she'd be looking for a nice piece of bark to hide under the piece of bark and hibernate for the winter, and then wake up when spring came. So that's why she was coming inside. She was looking for a place to hibernate. But I think she needs to do that outside. Now here my little fishy. Fishes need to stay under the water. Okay, if I take them out of the water, or put them on the side of their tank or under their tank, they're not going to be very happy fish. So we're not going to do that. They need to stay under the water. My snake friend. And this little snake friend lives in a big tank, but this one likes to sit on top of this log. And in the big tank where he lives normally, there's a light, and it makes that a nice warm place. So he likes to sit on top of that log to get nice and warm. He's a reptile. And the only way he can stay warm is to be where it is warm, under that nice warm light. Isn't he beautiful? Look at that beautiful little snake. It's called a ribbon snake. You see it sticking its tongue out? Yeah, look at that beautiful animal. They eat fish. Sorry. Here's another little friend. And this little friend is hiding. There's somebody in here, but they're hiding. I think they're underneath that rock. There, he was actually behind the rock. He was hiding behind the rock. Usually he's underneath the rock. It's a little gecko. Why do you think he likes to hide underneath a rock? That's a safe place to be. Okay, so no one can see you under that rock. So this little guy, look at those big eyes. Oh, so just let me out here. So big eyes, he's nocturnal. So he comes out at night. During the day, he hides under that rock, so no predator can find him and eat him. Put him back. He can go back to hiding. Oh, okay. Okay. Now I have a little project I want to suggest to you. And it's a pretty fun thing to kind of do some experimenting or exploration with where you put things. So you can just use any kind of paper, different colors, different shapes. And I glued these on a piece of paper. I did a whole bunch of them. And I give different shapes for it. You don't really even have to use different shapes. You need the same shape. But I put this one, so the red one is behind. I put the orange one on top in front of it. Then I put the blue one in front of the orange one. And the orange one's in front of the pink oval. And then the pink rectangle is to one side. And then if I look at it like that, now the rectangle's on top and the oval is below and the blue one's on one side. And the red square is still behind. But you can experiment, move it all around. You can glue them on, or you can just put them on and then move them all around until you make a design that you like. Okay. So it's a fun thing to do with arranging things in front and on top and behind and to the side. So have some fun, and we'll see you next time. If you have any questions, Mr. Broughton will be glad to answer.
Thank you, Ms. Nash. The question that came in is, can an object be described more than one way? And yes, if you think about a branch that's about halfway up on a tree, you could say it is above a branch that's below it, or it's below a branch that's above it. So that's one example of how an object can be, the location of an object can be described more than one way. All right, now we're going to see the way objects move with Ms. Ramirez.
Hello, my name is Ms. Ramirez, and in this segment, we're going to be learning about motion. So motion is simply how objects move or the act of moving. So we're going to explore motion first by using our body to move. So the first thing we're going to do, put your arms out straight And then we're gonna kind of move them in a wave. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little brain break to help your brain become more coordinated. So take your left arm, and the reason I know it's my left is because your left hand will make an L shape, and left starts with the letter L. So take your left hand, put it on top of your head. So that's a position. Now move your hand up and down. Up and down is a direction. So you're moving your hand up and down. Now take your right hand and put it on your stomach and move it in a circular motion. So the path that your hand is moving is in a circular trajectory. That just means path. Now we're going to do those two motions together at the same time. So your left hand is moving up and down and your other hand is moving in a circle, and see if you can get your mind trained to do that correctly. Now, the faster you try and do it, the harder it's going to be. So that's just a little fun brain break for the afternoon. So the first vocabulary word that we're going to look at today is trajectory. And y'all heard me say that earlier. Trajectory is just the path an object is taking as it moves. So let's look at some examples of trajectory. So an object can move in a straight line. So if you take your arm and make it nice and straight, that's a straight line. Think about how when you're walking down the hallway and your teacher says, walk in a straight line. That's to help other people pass through the hall. Objects can also move in a zigzag motion. So think of like if you have your arm and you do it like this, that would be a zigzag. Things can also move in a wavy trajectory like this. And then objects can also move in a circular trajectory or path like this. So let's take a look with our little rocket here. I'm going to fling it into the air. Think about its trajectory. Do you think it's going to go in a straight line? Do you think it's going to go in a zigzag? Do you think it's going to go in a circular path? Or do you think it's going to go in a wavy path? So I'm going to go ahead and shoot it in the air. And I know you're not going to be able to see it go all the way, but it went straight up and then it went straight down. So that is its path or trajectory. So if you go home and just take a piece of paper and make a little airplane and then fly it in the air, the path that it takes is its trajectory. Our next word is direction. Direction is just telling us where is the object moving or where is it pointing to. So some words that we can use to describe direction would be up. So think about when you're riding your bike and you're going up a hill. Another word for up is ascend. So when you go ride your bike, you are ascending the hill. Now, if you ride your bike up the hill, you're going to have to go down at some point. So down, another word for down is descend. And I remember that because they both start with the letter D. So ascending is up, descending is down. Objects can also move in a round and round direction. So think about when you're going on a merry-go-round, it goes round and round, or the wheels on the bus go round and round, that song. So those are things that go round and round. So let's take a look at our little unicorn slinky over here. The unicorn slinky can go up, it can go down, it can go up and down or back and forth at the same time. This is also called a vertical movement. So vertical is up and down. Now let's take my slinky friend and move it to the left and move it to the right. So left and right, back and forth is called horizontal. So this is horizontal, this is vertical. Horizontal, vertical. And I can also make my slinky go in a circular motion as well. So it can make a circle too. So our next word is speed. So speed is the rate of motion, and it's simply telling us how fast or slow something is going. So let's take a look with our nunchucks. I'm going to spin these, and you guys are going to be a good scientist, and we're going to observe. So we're going to use our eyes to watch and see what happens. So describe what you see. Describe the speed. Are they moving fast or slow? Think about trajectory, the path. Are they moving in a straight line? Are they moving in a zigzag? Are they moving in a circular path? Or are they moving in a wavy path? And then think about the direction. Is it moving up Is it moving down? Is it moving horizontal, left to right? Or is it moving vertically up and down? Or is it moving round and round? So I'm going to go ahead and swing them. So go ahead and describe the motion of these nunchucks. Now, if you ask me, I think it's going pretty fast, and it's also going in a round and round or circular trajectory. So I'm going to go ahead and stop spinning them, and we're going to look at an animal friend to discuss speed. So I have two animal friends, and as I show them to you, be thinking about which one is fast and which one is slow. So my first one is a box turtle. I'm just going to go ahead and name him Sheldon. He's called a box turtle because these turtles have a line. And look at that line. It's actually a straight line. So that straight line is called a hinge. And what it does is when he gets scared, he can tuck these little legs and head inside his shell, and he can close that top part of his shell like a door, almost how you can close a box. So that's how they get the name box turtle. Now, do you think he can run fast, or do you think he can run slow? So take a look at his legs. That might be a good clue. His legs are short and stubby. So what do you think about his speed? My next animal has feathers and lays eggs. So what do you think she is? This is Pepper. She's a blue silky chicken. She gets that name because she has blue skin on her ears, and when you touch her, she is super soft. And now look at her legs. Her legs are really long, and they're also nice and strong. So she can actually run really fast, and that is what helps her to run away from predators. Predators are animals that might try and eat her. So those long, powerful legs help her to run away so that she can escape predators. So which one do you think is faster, the chicken or the turtle? So we know the turtle can't run super fast. What do you think he does to stay safe? He hides in his shell. So we're going to go ahead and put our animal friends up. And I have a little video to show you more animals and how they move. So let me share my screen with you guys. It might take just a second for the screen share. And we're going to pull up our PowerPoint. So let's take a look at this video with the ants. Again, use your eyes, make observations about how they are moving. So are they moving in a straight line? Are they moving in a zigzag? Are they moving in a curvy line? So describe their motion. And then we also see our snake over here. The snake and its body is kind of in a kind of wavy motion. So its body is not straight right now in that picture. So let's look at our next one. For our next one, we have up and down. So think of a yo-yo. When you play with a yo-yo, it goes up and down if you know how to play it right. And then the other picture is whack-a-mole. When I was a kid, I used to love playing with the whack-a-mole. It's an arcade game, and there's a toy mole that would pop up, and you're supposed to whack it with that little thing before it goes back down. So the more times you whack it, the more points you get, and then the more tickets you can get for prizes. And then in real life, as motion pertains to animals, we have this video of prairie dogs. So again, use your eyes, make some good observations about what you're seeing, and describe their motion. Now those are going side to side, but the other ones are going up and down. Up, down. They look super cute. And notice the sound they're making. So scientists call that the yip, the jump yip. And scientists think they once thought that they were jumping in excitement, saying kind of like, yay, the predator's gone, we don't have to be scared anymore. But now scientists think that they're doing that as like a roll call. So think about in the mornings when your teacher calls you by your name to check who's here, and you either raise your hand or you stand up and let them know that you're there. So scientists think that that's what these prairie dogs are probably doing. So they're just trying to see, you know, who's still there in their little community. So they're just taking roll call. Our next one is back and forth. So some things that go back and forth. I have a recliner that goes back and forth so I can rock myself to sleep. There's a swinging that goes back and forth. And out here we have hummingbirds. So these hummingbirds, they fly forward to drink nectar from the flowers, and then they fly backwards. They fly forward to drink nectar, and they fly backwards. Our next motion is round and round. So remember the nunchucks going round and round? I used to love going to the state fair when I was a kid, and these are some of the rides I would go on. The carousel, the horse would go up and down, but the ride itself would take you round and round. So let's look at the squirrel spinning. Now this is a special type of bird feeder. It's meant to stop squirrels from stealing bird food. And since the squirrels are much heavier than birds, when the squirrels jump onto the bird feeder, it ends up swinging them round and round. So some people don't like squirrels. So that's why they have these bird feeders, because they don't want them stealing the food. But I love the squirrels, and I always provide them with food to eat. And our last one is speed, fast, or slow. So again, observe these rabbits and describe how they are moving. These are cottontails, and they get their name because they have a white poofy tail that looks like cotton. And I hope you just noticed that they were jumping up and down. These rabbits are playing in a field. Notice their big ears for listening for predators, and those long legs and big feet to help them run fast. And as you're watching, notice, are they running in a straight line, or are they running kind of zigzaggy and wavy? They're actually super fast animals. So we're going to go ahead and stop it there, and we'll move on to our last slide. Our last slide is a challenge. I would like for you guys to go outside if you can and observe animals, whether it's squirrels, birds, dogs, cats, or bugs, and describe their motion. So think about their speed. Are they fast, or are they kind of slow? Think of their trajectory. Are they moving in a straight line, zigzag, or in a circular path? And then think about directions. Are they going up or down, left or right? So just watch things around you and describe their motion. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we're going to give it back to Mr. Broughton, and he's going to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. We're going to do a quick recap of what we did today. So let me share my screen with you one last time here. There we go. So today's field trip again was all about force and motion. During this virtual field trip, students discovered that energy, force, and motion are related and are part of their everyday life. Students explored interactions between magnets and various materials, observed the location of an object in relation to another, and observed the ways that objects can move. Thank you so much for joining this afternoon. We appreciate you taking the time to learn about force and motion, even if it was during a virtual field trip. And we'd like to know what you thought about today's field trip. You can let us know by going to www.tiny.cc/EEC feedback and filling out a short feedback form for us. We hope to see you again in about 3 weeks, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.